What's up, everybody? This is Elliott Terrell with Magical Thinking, brought to you by artofmagic.com. Today's guest is very special for me. I love this performer. I saw him, I guess the first time I was introduced to him was Fool Us, back when it was in Britain. And, he was on. It was amazing. I loved his comedy. I loved his performance. This is, of course, Piff the Magic Dragon, or John Vanderput, as some of you may know him since before he was Piff. We talked a bit about show business, about creating a character, committing performance, about using an animal. Speaking of which, Mr. Piffles had an unfortunate accident. For about 20 minutes of the podcast, you'll hear us reacting and cleaning up John cleaned up after him. I sat and laughed and giggled like a schoolgirl. Anyway, we had a great time talking. It was such a pleasure to sit down with him and discuss magic and life, and I hope you guys enjoy listening to it. A bit of housekeeping at the top. You can follow us on Instagram at A Sense of Mystery. You can find us on Facebook by searching for Art of Magic, Twitter, Art of Magic. I hope you guys enjoy, and it was certainly a delight and a treasure spending time with him, and you'll probably get tired of hearing me say delight and treasure, but it really was such a lovely experience sitting down with someone that I so deeply admire. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Have fun listening, and let me know. Send me an email, podcast@artofmagic.com, what you think, and maybe who you think somebody should be that I sit down and talk to. Anyway, enjoy the podcast and have a good time. Thanks. That's fine. This will be fun.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right, I'm going to split these cards while we do this.
Okay, that's fine. So I do...
What was oh my god.
Oh, the lotion!
The lotion.
Okay, try not to do that
I
again.
think that is quite strong, that lotion. I get like winter itch, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So, and then Jade went out and bought that lotion and put it on. I was like, oh my god, I'm burning. I tell you, make good lotion, Dan and Dave.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to their lotion?
The producer got tired of doing it, actually. Actively hated making it.
Well, why didn't they just go, no problem, we'll do it in-house?
We did. That's what I'm saying. Justin hated making it.
Who's Justin?
Their older brother.
Oh, he made it, oh, right.
Yeah, he makes all their stuff.
Right.
But that stuff is good, I agree. I still have my first bottle from years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Anyway. That wasn't meant to plug Dan and Dave, I guess.
I'm happy to plug Dan and Dave. What else? What other Dan and Dave products should we talk about?
I'm not interested in any of that.
I've got an ostrich card case.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it one of the new ones?
I don't know. It's a couple of years old.
Do you like it?
I love it. The only problem is I feel it elevates my skill level far above what it is.
You take it out and people assume...
People are like, oh, here we go.
I'm
like, no. I've got no cardistry skills.
Well, that was the first time I met you, only briefly, was at MagicCon when you guys did that video.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favourite magic conventions. I think it's probably my favourite one that I've ever been to. Because I generally hate magic conventions and turn them down all the time. But Dan or Dave asked me to do that. So I was like, yeah, alright, I'll come and do it. And it was great, I had a good time.
That's awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed your performance.
Oh, I didn't enjoy performing there.
Well, no, I figured not.
No, I didn't enjoy that bit.
It is a great place to hang out and...
Yeah, I just like hanging out with, people, and I think I met Jeff Kaler there as well. But I met a couple of people there who went on to get, Willman was the first time I met Willman. People who went on to become really good friends, especially when I moved out here permanently. Chris Chalco, I think that was the first time I met Chalco.
I love Chalco. He's the best.
Yeah. Him and I just did the playing cards together.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. For the benefit of your listeners, I'm splitting playing cards. And I will continue to do so.
That's fine. Do you want to tell us why? You don't have to.
Yeah, well, I'm just prepping my show.
Okay.
So.
And okay. We can get into it, I suppose. So you're performing at the American Comedy Company here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I am curious, you've performed in enormous venues. I'm sure you've performed in small ones as well.
Yeah.
But just for the people listening, your character, a magic dragon.
Well, yeah, I mean, really, it's just me in a dragon outfit, but sure, like, my quote-unquote character.
Well, Piffles is so adorable.
Piffles has got a character.
Yeah, Piffles.
You can talk to him about character. He's got a lot of work on it.
So just going into a comedy club, what is that? I don't know.
What's your question? Come on, spit it out.
Are you performing magic in the comedy club? Are you doing stand-up? Is it a combination of both?
I do my act, which is a combination of both, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Although I might be wrong, but some magicians might disagree with me about the magic content. And some comedians would also disagree with me about the comedy. But yeah, like, it's a mix of comedy and magic, so...
Do comedians view you similarly as to how they view musical comedians? That you're using a crutch when you do comedy?
Probably. I mean, I would.
You would?
And I think that's true as well. You know, I mean, like, crutch is a, like, negative term.
Oh, yeah, I don't feel that way at all, but I just...
No, well, look, if you feel you can say that way, right? That's fine, too. No, like, crutch is probably a negative word, but, you know, maybe gimmick or something like... Whatever it is, I'm definitely using something, you know, it's not as pure as standing there telling jokes at a microphone. And for me, I think that the type of laughter is also different because I think there's a much purer laughter if you're just at a microphone doing jokes as opposed to if you're doing magic, because people have to watch and then react, whereas with comedy people can just, you know, they don't have anything to pay attention to, they're just laughing, you know, so I think the laughs tend to be bigger from just comedians.
I would wholeheartedly agree, and again I think it's awesome, and I'm not a purist in that aspect. That doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a purist in any aspect, so the last thing I am is a purist. But you know, I just think like it's very natural that if you're watching a comedy show, all you have to think about is the jokes. Whereas if you're watching a magic show, people, you know, for good or for bad, are also trying to work out how you do it, and they're trying to watch you to make sure you don't, you know, do anything sneaky.
Sure.
So there's always that split focus.
And so the laughs are bigger because people are doing several things at once?
No, in a comedy show, I think they're not as big.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, hang on, what am I saying? When you're a magician doing comedy in a comedy club,
yeah,
I think, you know, generally, like the laughs are, oh, you know what, it's different, but like,
I'm interested.
All I'm saying is like there's split focus in a
sure
comedy magic show. So I mean, it's difficult because there are some things that I do that will get much bigger laughs than like you know, stand up doing jokes.
Sure.
And there are some things I do that the laughs will sort of be you know, people are they laugh and then they try and recover quickly so that they can continue seeing what I'm doing.
Sure.
And then there are other times when I'm not even doing jokes, I'm just doing magic.
Mm-hmm. So how do you approach, how do you sort of structure your show in regards to, are you recording and counting laughs, or are you trying to get the most
at the beginning, than I was when I first started, I would record... What do you want, Piffles? What's up? Oh, Piffles is not happy. Come on, buddy. He wants to go. You want to eat? Come on. There you go. Look, your house is over here, and your food is over here. What did you want? No, he wants just to come up and hang out.
That's great.
All right. What was that question again?
How are you structuring your show? What's your, you know?
So at the beginning, I used to like do. This is like 7, 8 years ago. 7 years. What year is it? 2015.
Yes.
So we've been doing Piff since 2008. So that's 7 years ago. So at the beginning, I would like write down a routine, go to comedy clubs, try it, record it, go home, listen back, and I would be listening for the laughs. So if there wasn't a laugh every like 7 to 10 seconds, then I would be like, okay, well, I got to redo some jokes. So then I would write some more jokes, and then I would go and do it again, and then I would listen, and I would just keep refining it like that. And some nights like I would increase the amount of laughs. Some nights I would decrease because I took out bits that I didn't think was funny, but turns out like other bits needed. I mean, one night I took out all the jokes, literally. And I went on and was like, oh, just took out every single funny joke, and came off to silence. That was awkward. So I did that. Now I didn't really work that way. Just because my routines were a bit more, I've got a lot of routines that are a bit more finished. So, and also I like to improvise a bit more these days. So
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you writing from stage just your comedy, or are you riffing magic as well?
I don't even know how you riff magic. How do you riff magic?
Just jazzing. Just.
What do you mean jazzing? You don't want to do.
Well, I mean,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing card tricks and making them up.
Yeah.
Right. No, don't do that.
Okay.
No.
So are you riffing bits then? Just
bits, and also the interaction with people. Because I don't do many card tricks on stage. I do like 2 at the moment, 3. Yeah, in an hour set.
Okay.
And they're sort of not really. They're not really like card routines.
Yeah, sure.
They're like, object in found location card tricks and all that stuff. And I do that thing I did on Penn and Teller as well. I close my set with that, which is what I'm prepping now. So yeah, I used to do a lot more magic, like a lot more card-based magic tricks. That doesn't really make sense. It's this early in the morning for me. You're not getting me up my most coherent.
This is fine.
So I used to do I would do multiple selection.
Sure.
I would do a stack deck routine, which they were funny, and that stack deck routine I would probably do again because that was pretty strong. But at the end of the day, I kind of in comedy clubs. This first time round, I was just happened to be doing this material. It's just the material that I've been doing recently and thinking about, and yeah.
How often are you? No,
insightful.
That's the perfect.
No, that was very insightful.
No, that's the perfect way to finish a question is by trailing off.
Trailing
and
off into a self navel gazing.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah,
I was just saying, oh God, what am I even saying?
You kind of lost the whole train.
Right. I was just like, now I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
That's fine. And I forgot the question.
Because the thing is, I guess really the thing is that I spend most of my life thinking about what I'm going to do on stage and refining that, but it's like, it's so big that to try and like sit down and go, oh, this is my method and this is that, then especially at 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And the other thing is, like, I quite like not knowing.
Oh, yeah.
And I like having no rules and breaking them all and changing them all, and everything I used to think I've sort of gone back on. And so I would always say, like, it's really important to script your act. It's really important to like have a script and write it down and like make sure that like tighten everything up, and I think that's true. And I will try and take a joke from 10 words to 5 words or something.
Sure.
But equally, I always think there's a place just to go out stage and try stuff.
Absolutely. Well, and I think there's an evolution to that as well. It's good to be able to get up and recite and perform that way so that you then become comfortable and can improvise as well.
Yeah, and I think, being okay with like an awkward space like leaves you opportunities to find something funny through it. So like, if I'm talking to someone and it gets awkward, which it does frequently.
Sure.
Like last night it got really awkward because there was this guy and he was heckling. He wasn't heckling me actually, he was heckling my opening act. And
I thought you were going to say he was heckling Piffles.
No, it wasn't even heckling me. The night came on And he said something under his breath, which was just like, it wasn't even a heckle. But I was like, what did you say? And like, talked to him, and then he sort of didn't really engage me and went back to just eating. And he was eating this massive plate of nachos. And I was just like, yeah, that's right, eat your pain away. And like, it got really awkward. Because it was a little bit too close to the truth.
Oh, yeah. Hit real close to home.
Yeah, but like, I'm okay with that. And then we all got through it and it got funny again.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah, that's like a beautiful place, that awkwardness, because everybody in the room feels it. You're all there.
The audience like acts as one, really. You know, they feel it. They know something's going on. If you like one of my rules, which I don't follow, is like, if I'm thinking something, I have to say it.
Sure. Because
everyone's thinking it. Like, if I'm on stage and I go, oh, this is awkward, everyone in the room, or most people, are thinking this is awkward. Mm-hmm. And the only way to deal with that is just to say it straight away. So, like, you try and... I try and just have that... when I'm performing, I try and have that... Whatever's going on in my head, I sort of try and get it out to some degree.
Sure.
You know, whereas if I'm on stage thinking about my shopping list, then I know I'm not really...
You're not in that moment.
Not really in it, yeah.
Well, do you find that...
Or, you know, and like one of the ways to break that is to just go, you know, shuffle the cards up. What should I have for dinner? You know, just to, like, speak
Say
it out
loud.
And then, yeah. Because I think, like, that's, like, people, like... I always hear this, like, oh, my character wouldn't do that. Or, well, what's your character doing? And it's just like, it's such... Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it's such bullshit because, like, you know, you look in the news every day and it's just full of people going, oh, he was such a quiet man. Like, who would have ever thought? And that's the thing about, like, character, is that in any given situation, the character's going to react any different way. So whatever way you act in that situation, that's how your character just acted.
Yeah.
You know? And so the quicker you can, like, have that impulse, like, in your head,
let it out
straight on stage, then that's, you know, to me, that's the funny bit.
Well, and I was going to ask, do you think you can get away with sort of that absurdist, like, yeah, what am I going to have for dinner while you're shuffling the cards because you're in a dragon costume? Or do you think that anyone could do that at any time?
I think that probably... I mean, well, like, I started wearing the dragon outfit because I used to get fired everywhere. So I would say no. I would say I have proven that impulse that... Well, no. It doesn't always work for everyone.
Sure.
I think it's difficult as a magician to... Well, it depends how you paint yourself as a magician, but part of that character, the fact that I'm like, yeah, I'm a genuine magic dragon, you know, I mean, to me, it's the same as people saying I'm a genuine magician.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's the same thing. So, but the fact that I'm in a costume and look ridiculous gives me a bit more of a license to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So...
People are accepting you as that performer.
Yeah, they are, and all that performer really is a more honest version of myself.
Isn't that amazing? Like, that you put on a costume and are then given the liberty to be more real?
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing, but also it's like, it's very old, you know, it's like the jester, court jester thing.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, a lot of theatre is that, so...
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it's always funny to me that I could just be like, I'm really hungry right now. You know, could I just... Like, yesterday, somebody had nachos, and so I just gave them the dog and took their nachos and started eating them. They were like, oh, that's so funny. I'm like, I'm genuinely hungry. Like, these nachos are delicious. I'm just eating their nachos. We're like, oh, it's such a good bit. Like,
This isn't a bit. I'm taking advantage of you.
I'm pretty hungry. You know, I'm not going to put my dog next to a plate of nachos because they're going to feed my dog nachos. Then he's going to shit all over the stage. I'm taking the nachos. Now I'm hungry. I'm going to eat the nachos. So, you know, there's no great craft in that comedy writing there.
It doesn't mean it's not good comedy writing. Is that like an instinct that was cultivated? Is that why you put on the costume, I guess, is so that you wouldn't be fired at places?
Right. No, there wasn't anything that calculated in any of this stuff. No, I just... I found it by accident,
mm-hmm.
and then once I started doing it, then I realised what it was really. and then I could really play around with it. And then over the years, obviously, like trial and error sort of showed me what worked best and what didn't.
So what led to the costume? Well, I mean,
I was just at a party. I went to a costume party in a dragon outfit, and nobody else was in costume. Nobody else was bothered. And I was like, you bastards. And my friend said to me, oh, you should do this in your act. You could be Puff the Magic Dragon. I said, oh, I could be Piff the Magic Dragon. And then I tried it, and it just clicked. So I was like, let's do that then.
And then a year later, you got Mr. Piffles.
Yeah. Was it a year? Yeah, about that. Yeah, I did my first Edinburgh. And in Edinburgh, I got Mr. Piffles because I thought, what this act needs is a gimmick. And so I got Piffles. Yeah. I mean, like, at the beginning, I think comics were like, what is going on? Sure. It was just like gimmick after gimmick. But then once they started seeing the writing in there, then, I mean, comics have been very nice to me, actually. You know, sometimes a lot nicer than magicians have been about it, so...
Sure.
You know, and it's much easier because like, I came up in the UK, and there were definitely some times when bookers were like, no, you know, we're not going to book this is not what, you know. But here, because I've managed to, you know, when I came over, I was like headlining in Vegas, and then I did AGT this year, so people know what the act is.
Sure. And
it has, like, for want of a better word, like some credibility. So, like, comics are really nice to me, you know. Yeah, it doesn't have any that sort of stigma attached of like when you're trying to work out a new idea, because it's terrible. It's like usually terrible for the first year or so, with small glimmers of hope. And when I do this to people all the time, I'll see somebody and form my entire opinion about their performance out of that one viewing, sure. Mm-hmm. And then 10 years later, I'll be like, oh no, I saw them. They're not very good. And you're just like, well, probably done, you know, hopefully a couple of thousand shows between now and then, they're probably a lot better. So I certainly am from when I started. Yeah, whatever question I was talking about. What was I talking about? I didn't know.
Oh, I asked about putting the costume on for the first time and then getting Mr. Piffles.
Yeah, did I answer all your questions about that?
It doesn't matter. I enjoyed it, regardless of if the question was answered. But I feel that you did. So you grew up in London in the 80s.
Yeah, wow. How old are you? 7?
I was born in the 90s.
Oh my god, the way you said that. You're 22.
I'm 22.
You grew up in London in the 80s. What was it like back then?
What was it like in
Tell
ancient times?
Tell me about those times.
Wow, yeah, I didn't think that through.
Wow, Elliott.
Well, I'm just curious
what would you like to know about our people?
I'm curious as to, like, how you got the magic bug, what comedy influences you had growing up, stuff like that, because I'm a huge fan of the British sensibility as far as humor is concerned.
Right. Well, me too.
Well, I should hope so.
I mean, that is certainly what I grew up on. Mm-hmm. So I would watch programs like Blackadder and 40 Towers. So those sort of like that was definitely the comedy that I loved. And then I hated magic when I grew up. Really hated it. And still now I don't like a lot of magic. You know, I reckon I like about 4% of magic, which is not much at all.
Is your magic in that 4%?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Not often. No, sometimes. Sometimes it is. So I used to hate magic, and then there was a show when I was about 15 or 16. Yeah, I think around that time. Maybe later, maybe it was 18. Called Stuff the White Rabbit, which was hosted by a guy called John Linehan, and had people like David Williamson. I think Amazing Jonathan did it. And then English people like Jerry Sadowitz, and you know. So these were guys who were mixing like strong close-up magic or strong stand-up magic with really strong comedy, and I loved those guys. And And then there were other acts on the show who would sort of mix magic, like comedy with weak magic, and I never really went for that at all. Like, I liked it when it was like really good magic and really funny comedy. So, and at the time I was doing close-up magic, so I started. That was what really got me into magic. That show, and the first Blaine special.
Sure.
I watched that. I was like, this is learning how to do that sort of really visual close-up magic. And then I did that for a few years and then decided. I think the thing with close-up magic is, I'm not sure this is so true over here actually, but maybe it's not even true in London anymore. At the time when I started, I would go and talk to other magicians, and they would be like, "Well, if you want to do magic for a living, you have to do either children's parties or weddings or corporate functions." And so I spent a long time doing that, and then I realized I didn't really want to be in that, because to me, like, there are two branches of magic. There's sort of magic as a service industry, which is corporates and weddings and bar mitzvahs, where you're basically an interchangeable product, and
Sure.
You're like a can of paint or a glass of champagne. And then there's sort of the more show business side of magic, which is, people coming to see you, or even just coming to see a show. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do anything where someone was going to see a show, rather than something where someone was trying to get some other goal achieved, and I was standing in the way of that. I was basically an obstacle in
Sure.
the night. Yeah. So that was how I started, really.
Okay. No, that's the...
I felt I did very well on that question, Elliott.
No,
and in your eyes, you've got that bewildered look of a tiny sheep in headlights, and I'm like, oh, I lost him.
No, that was lovely. I just was surprised at how well you wrapped it
Oh,
up.
come on. You gonna go there now? Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, so I completely see what you're saying as far as being an obstacle.
Well, basically, you're a professional interrupter.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Let me change that. It's like, I don't trust you to have... The party host doesn't trust you to have a good time. Therefore, they've sent me along to ensure that you're having maximum enjoyment right now. It's kind of... Now, there are some people who are great at it. And my friend Jeff Kaler is... because to me there were like performers who are natural show-offs, and there are people who are more introverted, but just, they've chosen to perform for a living. I'm definitely in the second category, but there are people like Jeff who just he wants to bring joy and sunshine to a room. Now that's not me. But when Jeff does it, it's great. People love it.
Sure.
People would genuinely love it. And there are other people who want to bring their ego to a room,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not as attractive.
Absolutely.
People are like, oh god, this guy again. So I think that's one of the... You have to be careful with magic for that, and especially in those gigs, it's more difficult to bring happiness and joy to a room, and it's much easier just to bring your ego.
Sure.
And be like, I'm going to show off, and at the expense of everything else. So.
And so that's why you had people
What's
pay
point,
to come
Elliott?
see you.
What's your point?
I'm just saying. Well, you're the introverted performer. You're the person that wants people to come to you rather than...
Yeah, I don't mind. I just want a context for what I do.
Sure.
I just want to be, for people to be facing the same way and listening. That's really all I'm after. And it's nicer when they come to see me, but it's also great when they're just going to a club. And in many ways, it's a lot easier when they're just going to, when they don't have any expectation, and then you come out, because then you've got a blank canvas.
Sure. That's going to be a lovely place for a costume and a dog. Blank canvas. Yeah. That you can it's so absurd and unheard of for someone just in the regular world, for a man to come out on stage.
Right, it is, but then it's so absurd to be there going, I am going to perform some magic tricks for you. Think of any playing card. Well, actually, I'd rather have a sandwich. Can you just make up a sandwich out of nothing? No. Just think of any... You know what? I've got some bills to pay. Could you just make some money right now? No, forget that. Just, you know what? I'm not feeling well. Could you make me feel better? No. I can do card tricks. All right, I can do some card tricks, and I've got this piece of rope here. I do some nice bits of that. You know, it's just ridiculous. So it's like the idea that you're a magic dragon is just a lot. For me, it's a lot richer.
No, of course, absolutely.
Then it's like, yeah, I'm a magic dragon. And it's the other thing is like, in magic, to me, the least interesting bit of my job is the magic, because we sort of have to do that, and it takes a long time and it's a lot of dead ends and all that sort of stuff. Whereas like being on stage, like one of the richer scenes is like, maybe I'm depressed because I just had a big argument with my girlfriend that night. Mm-hmm. That's much more human, and people can relate to that, as opposed to people can't really relate to the process of magic.
Sure.
That's why when you tell them how a trick is done, they're disappointed. So there's nothing really human to share about like the craft of magic other than the trick itself. Whereas, like they can relate to being, late for work or stuck in traffic or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Any one of those universal experiences. Mm-hmm. Is much easier to say than other than, oh, you know what, guys? You know that thing where you just spend like 10,000 hours learning something and it goes wrong, you never use it in your act. They want the wonder. They sort of want the wonder of magic preserved and intact. So that character for me is great because I can talk about that stuff, mm-hmm. In a way. And just do the magic as almost a throwaway, even though the magic is strong magic.
Sure.
Because I'm a magic dragon, so yeah, of course I can do magic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've done this all my life. I'm over it. Like let's talk about something real. Are you single? It's like, yeah.
No, that's a beautiful. I
really feel like you're getting me at my least coherent.
No, you're really giving me the juice. This is
really.
Yeah, this is awesome. I think that's great.
You can say that anyway.
Well, yeah, you're probably right. No, I wouldn't. I love the idea.
Let's just edit this down into a tight 7 minutes, and we will be nailing it.
That cannot be done, and I wouldn't want it to be. We can edit it, but I'm not going to, unless you say something really absurd and terrible.
Yeah, well, give me time.
Okay. Oh man, I had something and I lost it. Anyway, I'll look at the pad.
Still in my life.
I'll look at the pad and... Oh, no, I was saying the universal experiences thing. That is something that I yearn for when I see magic. It's
really difficult.
Yeah, I don't care about the four aces and their acrobatic capabilities.
I mean, here's the thing though, right? We did, didn't we? Once we cared. And the audience still does. Mm-hmm. Which is how I explain some performers who just do the magic mm-hmm. and sort of stand back mm-hmm. and they, people are going crazy for it. And I'm watching it going, why do people love it? Because I think people do love just that raw, like context-free, meaningless magic. Like it's like the porn of magic.
Yeah, the masturbation magic, yeah.
Right, they're just like, oh, how did that happen? Oh, no. But I think too much
Same
of that...
thing that they say after watching porn.
Right, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This took a dark turn. Whereas, so I think people like... So there's a place for that.
Sure, of course,
but I know what you mean, that after you've seen a lot of that, you start going... Well, is there something that's got a bit more context and meaning and substance to it?
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's... You said the word context. I mean, if you're...
But it becomes very difficult to... Penn and Teller, mm-hmm. They've got, one of the greatest acts in history.
Of course.
And there are some bits which are very... they're like... The context is embedded in the speech and in what they're doing. And then there are other bits that are just visual poetry. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, how do you... What's the difference between that and a 4-ace trick? Like, objectively, on paper.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, we all know that, the difference mm-hmm. is that one of them makes you feel something, and the other one is... One, like, when Teller's doing the roasting, it's like working, it's like connecting to you on a human level.
Yeah.
And for
it's
whatever
dance,
reason,
right,
you're empathizing and relating to it. And when somebody does 4-ace trick... Like, at the beginning, maybe you're going, oh my god, how did he do that? And then after you've seen a few of them, you're going, oh yeah, okay, great. And especially if you start becoming a magician, you do want to shoot yourself in the face. Whereas I've seen Penn and Teller thousands, probably not thousands of times, hundreds of times, and every time, I love it, and I just want to, like Teller with the floating red ball, or his Miser's Dream, I would just happily watch that over and over again.
Absolutely. But that comes from, like, again, being really visually beautiful, I think. More than just the magical aspect of it, it's like fluid. It's like you said, it's visual poetry.
Right. I mean, I think these days I try not to worry about explaining it. Trying to explain it or get to the bottom of it. I just, I love it, and I try and create bits like that in, bits that can have an emotion or a feeling. And I don't even like design them as like, what I'm going to do now is make something that has a, of course, I'm not interested in that. I'm just like, what would be the most interesting visual and, if I'm using music, or what would be the most interesting way to do this? Which I'm sure some people think is hilarious, because I'm sure people just think, no, he just dressed up in a stupid outfit and goes on stage and dicks around. Yeah. But I do try and think about what I do quite a lot.
Isn't that kind of, the magic of it? Thinking about what you're doing and really trying to make it great so that people will think he's going up stage and dicking around.
Yeah, it depends what I'm doing. But sometimes I am going on stage and dicking around. It just depends what bit we're talking about.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? I sort of think there's a time and a place for everything. And I also love the idea about having a performance that isn't one note. So you've got a performer who can be happy, sad, depressed, angry, lonely, all in one show. So I like being able to, because to me that's also very real. When you get depressed, you have to pick yourself back up again, or maybe you don't. But like there's like at least like there's at least a journey to it in life.
Yeah.
So you should have that same journey on stage. Why are you looking at that?
No, it's just that was again another really good period at the end of the sentence.
I felt like it ended that. And
you
were
did.
Just like,
it was great.
Like a cat staring at a hamburger. Like, what do you want?
No, I wondered if there was going to be another. It was great. I love it.
That was all the wisdom you got from me.
It was awesome. So, okay, let's try and backtrack. Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
And then Mumford and Sons.
Well, not quite that. It wasn't like Edinburgh Festival.
No.
Day 2, Mumford and Sons.
Day 3, right? Well, so you toured with them. You opened for them.
Yeah.
How did that... Because I don't know what venues they were playing in, and I don't really know much about their tour.
So we did... Well, I started working with them on their... we did... so the first thing I did for them was a show in Huddersfield, which is a place in the UK, and it was an after-show party. So it was for it was in a comedy club, it was like maybe a couple of hundred people, and it's one of those gigs where everything went wrong. My music didn't work, everything went wrong.
Yeah.
But then sometimes, and it happens rarely, something about it all just clubs together, and suddenly you just get this there's this energy in the room. And the act on before me had a difficult set because so the crowd were a bit edgy, and something about it just made it all work, and it was one of the best gigs I've ever done. It was a really great gig. So then they were then the next week I was supposed to be doing the same, but their compere didn't show up for the main stage. So I went out and did magic tricks before each act, before each band, and then brought on Mumford and Sons, and that worked really well. And then they were like, "Oh, let's go on tour properly together."
How many people are in the audience?
I don't know. When I compare, it was 20,000 or something. It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you're just there going, does anything I say matter right now?
Well, that's kind of what I was getting to.
It's I have 2 hands. Oh my god. Do you like Mumford and Sons? Oh my god. So, yeah.
There's a built-in response to that.
Yeah. But, you know, I had a lot of fun, and they paid some of my bills for a while, so it was great.
Well, that's all you can ask for.
Sometimes that is all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that.
Well, so I guess getting to the cusp of why I asked about that is, apart from the built-in response, what is there to know and learn from performing for 20,000 people?
I don't know, and that was the tricky bit for me, which is why I never really pursued it after that, was because, and I say this without any brag whatsoever.
Of course.
When I did theatres, we did a good job. It went really well. We did 30 minutes in between 1,500 to 3,000 seats, and 25 minutes, and that went well every night. That was pretty good, and I could see doing that over and over again. I get even get more better and better with that. When I did arenas, half the nights it went great, really great, like some of the best gigs I've ever done, and half the nights it bombed, and there was nothing in the middle. There was no grey area. There was no time when it was going okay. It was either bombing or killing, and I didn't do anything different. First night, I was on the wrong stage, and the cameras were. The first night there were things you go, okay, well, we'll just change that.
Yeah.
That's obviously why it didn't work. But there were nights when I'd be like, no, I just did exactly the same as I did the other day, and it was just bombing. And I would come off stage, and my Twitter would just be full of people who hated me. And I was like, what? And then other nights it would go great. So that's why I was like, oh, I'm not really into this.
So that's when you were doing theaters that you mentioned. Were you opening for another act, or was that just you?
No, I was opening for Mumford and Sons.
Oh, so you're saying when you were doing theaters for Mumford and Sons?
They did a theatre tour, and they did an arena tour.
Okay.
Arena? Yeah, arena tour. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then theatres, it was 1,500 to 3,000 people,
and it was great every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in the arenas, it was a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm also a believer in once you've done something, then you should move on.
Sure.
And I definitely felt like I'm not going to do anything bigger than that with these guys. So. Yeah, and they're great.
Sure.
They're amazing live acting, just great people to work with, and really nice. So yeah, always end on a high.
Oh yeah.
Get out before it. Get out early.
Yeah.
Get out early, end on a high. Yeah. You see so many people try and hang on to something or not change, and so yeah. One of the other rules I have is change or die.
Change or die.
Yeah, which is brutal, but it's true. I found myself doing things that, I found myself trying to hang on to a gig or hang on to something, and when it eventually ends, that means you've got nowhere else to go. Whereas if you can try and be adapting, and there's a magician called Jeffrey Durham who once said to me that he would go, right, in 2 years' time I'm not going to be doing this anymore, and he would work to that deadline, and then when the deadline came he would stop and he would start his new thing. And that that's brave, but I think that's sort of what you have to do.
Sure.
No.
And you've done...
Oh, buddy. Hi, Piffles, buddy. Piffles is sitting next to me for the benefit of the listeners. He basically spends 22 hours asleep.
Okay, so when I came into the room, he viciously attacked me.
Right, well he does, yeah. Any closed room that somebody enters, he will attack them.
But on stage, he's so chill. On
stage, he's amazing. If you walk around with him, he's great. He does a meet and greet after every show, and he gets held by every single person in the audience. He's great. But if they set foot in his dressing room, he will try and rip their shins off. No one's perfect.
No, but it doesn't get much better than that, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. We're both looking at Piffles. He's so majestic. He's such a handsome.
I know.
Handsome beast.
And it's talking about people who've got it. He's really got it.
Oh yeah.
I look at him and I go, how do you have that much confidence? He really is just like, yes, I am the shit.
Life can be this delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you should bow down and worship me.
Yeah. Well, it says on your website that he's the star of the show.
Right.
He is.
He is. Yeah, I agree. Hey, buddy.
Oh.
And I think like he's a nice counterbalance for me because I'm very deadpan and grumpy. So it's nice that there's something people can enjoy.
Well, I know that's like there's a kernel of truth in that though, because you're like a grumpy magic dragon, and then you have this adorable fluffy chihuahua,
right?
That just hangs out with you.
Yeah, and to me it's just funny that like people are like always talking to me and say, "Oh, your dog's so cute. Oh, let me show you pictures of it." And I'm like, I don't care about your dog. Don't show me pictures of your dog. I don't care. And I think there's something really funny about being really grumpy with it when you own a cute dog.
It is. It's one of the great joys of life is to see a grumpy person with a cute animal.
Yeah, I mean, if I was like some super hot blonde girl with this like, cute little dog, people would be like vomiting on street corners. Whereas because I'm like this like fun-sized grumpy prick with a tiny dog, people are like, that's pretty funny.
You're like a young old man,
right?
Which is awesome.
Hey, buddy. Yeah.
So you moved to Vegas. Are you an American citizen?
No, I've got a green card.
Good.
Do you need to see it?
No.
American.
And I was saying, good, you're not an American citizen. Keep your heritage.
Right. You're like,
Especially living in Vegas.
Yeah.
Do you love it there?
I love it. Yeah, and I love it in Vegas, and I love it in America generally. It's been nice to be touring around and see more of it. And I got really great friends out here, so yeah, I'm pretty happy out here.
That's awesome. You did Nocturne at the Cosmo.
Yeah, well, a show called Vegas Nocturne, which is part of a venue called Rosa at Lai, which was sort of fun.
It was sort of fun?
It was sort of fun. Yeah. But, got me over here, and they also gave, what do you want? Oh. You want to eat? Piffles is on the lookout for something. It got me over here, and it paid my bills, and it, is he going to eat? Oh, shit. Don't. Oh, fuck, he was going to shit. He's gone behind the curtain.
I love that he went behind the curtain.
He's genuinely...
Oh, it's such a shame that this is a podcast and not some sort of...
Piffles. Well... That just happened.
It looks like...
I'm opening a window. Oh, he's still going. No, not there. No, behind the curtain again.
He looks so embarrassed at the same time.
Yes. Don't look. If you're gonna do that, you can fucking put the curtain. Oh my god.
Have some decency, Piffles. Oh, man.
That happened on stage the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Got huge laughs, of course.
People didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I was saying, well, somebody's not feeling well. You done, Piffles? Thanks for that. Alright, he's going to bed now.
He's exhausted after that.
Yeah. He's like, where?
Does Piffles have an accent?
I don't know. He has many different accents that change my mood. Thanks, buddy. Alright, well now I get to do the fun bit of show business and pick up Piffles' shit.
This is all staying in, by the way, because this is gold.
I know, I can see by the look on your face. Well, this is literally that, that famous joke about show business with the elephant.
No, I don't know it.
Circus comes to town. It's like parading through. There's a guy at the back of the line just shoveling the elephant shit. And somebody says to him, "Why are you doing this? You could just get a job like selling hot dogs."
Mm-hmm.
That would be nicer than this. And the guy turns around and says, what? And get out of show business? So, I'm literally now going to clean up my tiny dog's productions.
Productions. What?
Oh, this is horrible.
Ugh, man. Should have periscoped this.
You should have periscoped this.
Well, the thing is, the site doesn't...
What is the thing, Elliot? What is the thing?
I would have periscoped it, except that the site that this is for doesn't exist yet. It's still secret.
Right.
So...
What is the site?
The site is called Art of Magic. He's tweeting right now with everything.
It's called what?
It's called Art of Magic, and it's...
Is that not a site? What's their one called? Oh, Art of Play.
Art of Play, yeah. So it's a sister site. And the site is going to be all the magic stuff that's on Dan and Dave.
Yeah. I'm going in.
It's going in with toilet paper now.
Yeah,
as opposed to Kleenex.
It's a commitment.
And it's just gonna have all the magic stuff that's on Dan and Dave. And then
Right.
Dan and Dave is going to be exclusively lifestyle stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, they are clever. I think they're... You know what I really like about Dan and Dave?
What's that?
I'm not sure if it should be...
No, it's fine.
Maybe this could wait until I stop cleaning up the tiny chihuahua diarrhea from my carpet.
Bibbles is looking so smug too.
No, he loves it. He loves it. He's so happy right now. Thanks, Piffles.
Oh, this is the best.
It's pretty good.
This could not be going better.
You're pretty happy with this, aren't you, Elliot? How'd it go, Piff? Yeah. You know, it was good it was alright for like 10 minutes. But then, Mr. Piffles shat everywhere. All over his whole room. And then I just spent the next 25 minutes watching a professional performer clean up chihuahua diarrhea. And just when he finished, Mr. Piffles stood up and went for a second round.
Not behind the curtain.
Not behind the curtain.
Oh, man. How we doing? Almost there?
No.
Oh.
Definitely not almost there.
Definitely not. Oh, man. Oh, this is awesome.
Oh.
It's like each turd gets its own trip to the bathroom.
Hey, listen, if you've got a fucking criticism of this, then you can get down on your hands and knees and show me a better way. This
No,
is
I
the way
love
I'm doing
it. Of course. I'm sure you have a lot
I
of
tell you why, because I
experience.
don't want to be dwelling there, picking them up.
Behind the curtain.
Yeah, I would rather just, get in and out quickly.
Sure. Makes perfect sense. There's no criticism. I'm just narrating for the benefit of the listeners.
What would I say? I think one or two more trips. The worst part of this is I listen to podcasts like when I'm driving or...
Yeah.
This is like going to be 10 minutes of somebody's day listening to me picking up dog shit.
It's going to be their favorite 10 minutes of the podcast.
Ow. Walked into the wall.
No. No, come on in.
Honey. Piffles just... Ow. Piffles just released himself.
Glad to hear it. Not my problem.
Have we got any Febreze?
At the club in your
Oh,
magic
okay.
dragon skin.
Do you have an air freshener?
I'll handle it.
No, I mean, I clean it all up.
Well, isn't this fun on podcast?
It is. He was just saying this is going to be 10 minutes of somebody's day. And I said...
Poop everywhere.
It
I
would-
don't even smell it.
It would be their favorite 10 minutes.
Oh, it's good. You're alright.
I cleaned it all up.
Okay.
But it was everywhere. I mean, you can go back and listen.
Oh, yeah.
Well, also, you haven't walked him yet.
No, honey, this is not the problem.
Was it diarrhea?
Yeah.
It's because everyone in the audience keeps feeding
I
him
know.
French fries.
I know.
Dear fans, please don't feed Piffles.
Poor guy.
That soap is delicious.
Where were we?
Right, where were we?
Oh, well, you said that you know what I like about Dan and Dave.
when we saying, what was the best things about your job? Is that what we were talking about?
Oh, yeah.
What's the
The
best
most
things about
glamorous
owning
part.
a Chihuahua? So I was just going to say that I think they've been great because they've always done what they wanted to do rather than, this is the way that you should earn a living from magic. And they've sort of gone out there and pioneered. They've sort of made a career the way they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love doing MagicCon. I think they're really great for Magic. Those guys.
I think you're really great for magic.
Thanks, Elliott. I'm not sure how much you mean that.
I mean it 100%, and I could say the same thing that you said about Dan and Dave, is that you're really opening up something for other people as far as Magic Dragon performing is
right?
concerned.
No. I've already had a Russian do this. I just did a news show and they trailed me by showing that Russian.
Oh, really?
And I was like, that's the other guy. That's not me. That's the guy who ripped off my act. Stop showing that video. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether anyone does a talent show in a stupid outfit.
Yeah.
With a skill.
And a small dog.
And a tiny dog. And a small animal. Yeah.
Are you worried about that?
No.
Well, I don't mean like as far as work is concerned, but I just meant, does that bother you, that kind of like blatant...
No, because most of the time it's funny. There's a way to make it funny.
Sure.
Like that Russian guy who made that video, which is pretty, it's a pretty funny video. So, it only bothers me when there's no way to, make it funny or to reference it. And it's kind of something genius about it as well. You can't really ask for much better publicity than that stuff.
That's true. It is. Well, that's the old saying. Imitation is the purest form of flattery.
Well, no, the old saying is imitation is a serious form of theft. That's really... People have said it, so we're like, no.
And then someone took it and changed it.
Right, and then someone
They stole it like an artist.
Yeah. I think that first of all, it's ethically wrong to steal material, but more importantly, it's pointless because you're never going to get the same reaction the originator got, and you're just wasting time. So
No, I think you're absolutely right, and
so you
I
might
think
as well
that's
forge your own thing. Oh look, I've got my Piff treasure. I got a little bag of Piff treasure.
What's in there?
Piff treasure.
Piff
Look.
treasure. Can I? Oh, this is one of the perks of the deck, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? Of course.
Sure.
When did the cards come out?
January, I think.
Okay. Well, this will be launching about the same time, so maybe you can.
Yeah. So I mean, they're taking a while because what? I made this up when I was hanging out with Dan and Dave after MagicCon, I guess. But I made this little Harbin stand out of a playing card, and I used to sort of, when I would get bored on tour, I would make them, and I'd make them as presents for people. So we did it. We got a deck of cards, and one of the cards is that, and the cards are custom designed. Every card's designed, and it's just something I wanted to do for ages. So, and then we did it through Kickstarter, so that paid for it all. So they come out soon.
That's awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. I saw Chris has shown me some of the artwork, and I'm really it's cool. It's really cool.
You find it difficult to contain your emotion.
What? No, it's really cool. I'm excited about the table card. I'm excited about Did the perk make it with the sandwich cards?
Sandwich cards are in there.
That's the best thing in the world.
And the best thing to me is that not only can you do a sandwich effect, but because we also added ham and cheese, so now you can do collectors.
Oh man, you have to post like a video.
I know, I will.
That'll be the best thing.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. So, that's pretty funny.
I laughed like a small girl when I saw the sandwich cards. When he was like, "We also made sandwich cards," and I was like,
I'm pretty sure. In fact, I know they are double face cards.
They are, yeah.
So you can use them with any deck. You don't have to use them with a Piff deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
You
awesome.
should just sell them on their own as individual things.
That's
But I try not to sell any Magic products anymore because I did like years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I like released my card change trick and then like a DVD of like 8 or 9 things from when I was doing Closer Magic, which I'm glad I did because I don't do that stuff anymore.
Sure.
So I'm glad that I sort of got it out there when I was more used to performing it. But like, I don't release any Magic products now.
Is that because? Excuse me. Is that because of your notoriety and how easily people could find it, or
I just don't like the idea of people doing my tricks.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. Like,
Sure.
I just think, I like creating stuff to perform, and
Sure.
and I don't like when people are ruining my material. If anyone's going to do that, it should be me.
You're the only person to ruin this material.
I'm the only one who should be allowed to poorly perform and execute barely thought out ideas.
In front of hundreds of people.
In front of hundreds of people.
But you get away with it because you're a costume.
Right. And that is the danger of the costume as well.
How many do you own? I'm sure you've been asked that.
I don't know, 5.
5?
Yeah.
Do you have like a formal evening wear costume and then
No.
you don't? That should be a thing.
No.
Just like nicer fabrics, it's like tailored and like
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've only got one good one at the moment.
Really?
Somebody's making 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about getting 2 new ones.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. My girlfriend's also excited about that.
What's the
And at the moment I was on stage last night, I was like, this is not pleasant to be around.
I Febreze it and wash it.
Yeah. Last night I was like, oof, this is pretty...
Sure, the meet and greet is fun for the fans.
Right.
Did Mr. Piffles diarrhea on me, or what is that?
Right. No, that's just my natural smell.
But you could blame it on him if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really cool. I don't know if I'm the only person that cares about this, but I certainly care about it. Did you make your first costume by yourself, or
No.
how did you?
I'm not very good at making anything.
Well, though, you're doing a good job over there on that table.
That's gimmicks. I can there's no creative input here. This is manual labour.
Okay.
Like, Mr. Piffles should be doing this. Basically. No, I sort of helped design them a bit, but I didn't make them. My friend, the first couple were made by this girl who works for a drama school in London. And then my friend stepped in and was like, alright, do you want me to... My friend's a designer, and he was like, do you want me to actually do this properly? And I said, yeah. And he made this amazing... he really tweaked it and really made it work. And then he gave it to me, and it was perfectly fitted, really well tailored, really well made, and it definitely changed my character.
Yeah.
But before, it was really didn't really fit, and it was super shitty, and it was so it was really one note.
Yeah.
And then when I got that outfit, and I really felt like I had swagger in it, then it definitely changed my character, my performing character.
Is that when the sound effects came in and the kind of...
I don't remember when the sound effects came in. Yeah, I don't remember. I remember coming out of that line vanish.
Yeah.
Which is early on, but I don't remember the sound effects. They sort of just crept in over time.
I would pay a lot of money to see the first time you did that and got a really funny reaction from it. And just any of your little sound effects.
I wonder whether that came from when I was doing close-up magic.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that came from me doing Piff. Yeah. And what was funny was the more I did Piff, then the more when I would do close-up magic, I could sort of like, you know, that persona was a lot more like watchable. Like now, like occasionally I'll do, you know, I'll do a talk and I have to do some magic at the end of it as myself, and you know, it's a lot funnier as a performance. It's a lot stronger, but it just doesn't compare to the branding that I have with Piff. So that's why I still do that dragon thing.
Yeah.
So you know,
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Oh,
that Dan wanted me to ask you.
What did Dan want?
Dan wanted to know if you feel like, do you still love being Piff, or do you feel trapped by the character?
No, I still love it. Yeah, I mean, I would always just stop something I didn't enjoy.
Sure.
But I still love it, and there's like loads of things to, there's still loads of things that I want to do with it and explore with it and all that sort of stuff. There are some times when, like, we did some shows a few weeks ago, and I thought they sort of sold them to a much more kiddie market, and it was really full of a lot of families, and I didn't really enjoy that. I was like, this isn't really where I want to go with this character, but generally I love it, and most days, you know, like 99 times out of 100, I'm having like the greatest day ever.
That's great. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
That's awesome. I was I was a little wary about asking you that, honestly, because I didn't know what the answer was going to be. I mean, not just now, but I meant when he told me to ask it, I was like, I don't know, because he was like, he compared it to Teller, you know, having the character of Teller.
Yeah.
And you know, he's curious to know if Teller's like so tired of being that person. And
that's a question for Teller, but
yeah. No, and I'm not asking it to you. I've just that was the comparison that he made as far as like how much you and Piff differ, if you do. Even though you said earlier on that it's
I mean, obviously, like it's a sort of like, it's an unfiltered version of myself, but you know, it's good to have filters. So
sure,
you know, otherwise society would not do so well.
But it's nice that you get to let the pressure off that valve every day.
And it's just I like, you know, it's really, I love being able to make people laugh, and I love being able to perform material that I've created, and there are some of my favourite things I've ever come up with are in that show. You know, whenever I perform them, it's like I'm having, you know, a great time on stage. So I mean, you know, I look ahead and I go, well, okay, do I want to be doing this in 10 years, in 5 years, in 2 years? And, you know, at the moment, 2 years, yes. 5 years, probably. 10 years, who knows, you know? But,
sure.
And, you know, we'll just see what happens. And we're trying to develop a TV show, which I think is the next natural step. Because the touring's going great, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll do, you know, we've got a show in Vegas now. And we're constantly developing new material for that. So the idea is the show in Vegas is different from the touring show, and you know, I like creating magic, and I like and I think that character is it's a rich scene to mine. You know,
sure.
I've never run out of ideas yet.
Well, yeah. So as you're creating for Piff, you know, like you said, you haven't run out of ideas. What inspires you for that character as far as magic is concerned?
I mean, like, I say I haven't run out of ideas, but also it's really difficult but it would be difficult creating material for myself.
Sure.
You know, I guess it's got a very narrow. You know, I have a very narrow range of magic tricks that I want to do as Piff. It has to be interesting to me, it has to be funny, like the concept has to be really strong and unique, you know, preferably it has to be something that nobody else could really do, or you know, it just has to be like feel very unique when I do it. So I just put in this new thing with where I'm toasting the bread, and then so I'm like trying to pass off that I'm like toasting the bread using my natural dragon fire, and I'm using a toaster.
Yeah.
You know, I was at a club the other day and somebody was like, someone was like, "You're not really doing that." When I'm like,
using a toaster.
It's like, yeah, welcome to irony. And then the car comes out, and whatever car they name is like, I bite it out of the car like a filling of a sandwich.
Yeah.
So that would be like a trick I would say is like, I'm happy with that trick, and but those don't really grow on trees. I don't really like doing any other tricks that other magicians have done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try and like customize and make something unique. I can't really think of anything that I do that's pretty standard. Although I'm sure magicians would disagree. I guess I do the sponge bunny rabbits, which is pretty off the shelf.
Yeah.
But I got like a lot of lines and that unique.
Yeah, that's the whole idea is for anybody. I think is just
I think
make it your own.
Make it your own, and it's difficult to buy something and perform it without changing it, and make it your own. It sort of go against each other. But yeah, I mean, like I grew up, and one of my strongest magical influences was John Archer, and he was always about how important it is to be original. Mm-hmm. It's like the most important thing, and so that was really kind of got drilled into me when I was a kid, and then these days, knowing and working with Penn and Teller, then to see how important it is for them to be original, but also to start from the concept first. So like, I mean, like there were a couple of ideas I'm kicking around at the moment, but really they're like, oh, I'd like to do a trick about whatever subject, or I'd like to have a moment where this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So they're so abstract at the beginning. Like at the moment I'm working something in, oh god, this is going to sound horrific. I don't even know how to say this well.
No, come on.
But I had this idea that like that Stephen Hawking voice is really funny with Mr. Piffles. Just that robot voice is hilarious with Piffles. And I don't think at the moment I'm doing it as a bit about Siri. So I've got a little tinfoil hat that I put on his head with an iPhone cable that goes into my phone, and I use like my phone to talk to Piffles. And but I mean it's funny, but like it's not quite. I think there's something funnier in it.
Sure.
And we've made this little hat as well that has a Bluetooth speaker on it with a little aerial, which is a different thing. And we put that on him, and then the voice comes out of the speaker, which is, I think that's funny as well, but I don't know. I'm not sure. But you know what I mean? Like there's like it's a funny concept to me. Not saying it's funny.
No,
but to me it's a funny concept. And then like eventually like it'll turn into, it'll go through loads and loads of iterations, and it'll turn into,
of course,
this bit
polished.
We're not saying polished.
Well, I mean, but polished as far as Piff goes.
Right. Well, no, there are bits that I do that are polished.
You don't think you'll polish the?
Some bits don't make it. Some bits they like. There are definitely things I've done that just never got there.
Yeah. Is it? Did you stopped enjoying it, or you didn't see that there was a goal that you could reach, or
just never really worked.
Clicked?
Yeah, there are some bits I go that are like polished routines.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I do card in dog food. That's like a polished routine.
Sure.
It's got a good, strong start, middle, and finish. The magic's pretty good. Like it's pretty straight line. There's it's very tight. I'm not saying it can't be improved, but it's like I think it's a good polished routine. Then there's silent bits I do that are really nice and polished, like that. The card changes, like polished routine. And then there's other stuff like where like we're doing a straitjacket routine at the moment, where we put him in a straitjacket, and we just put a tiny dog in a straitjacket on stage, and then make him escape from it. And it's like we're still finding like I think we're still finding that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we're working hard on it, but it's like still trying to find it. And it's interesting to be in a place where you're, that like just some routines click easier than others.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine him escaping from his. I can't even.
It's pretty brutal.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean when I first started doing that, half the audience just walked out.
Oh really?
Yeah, I did it like 3 years ago, and they were just like, "Nope, that's too much."
So do you have to kind of preamble into that so that people don't walk through?
Yeah, we sort of do it as that one is like a narrow line because, like to me, the funny thing about that is if Piffles wants to go in a straitjacket and then the audience demand to see it, then when it happens, like, and me trying to talk them out of it, then when it happens and it's horrific, then it's like, look, this is, you guys wanted to see it.
I told you this.
I told you it was bad.
Yeah.
But you guys wanted to see it, so now get in a straitjacket. And we play that what's that track called? The one from the dog shelter advert.
Oh God, no!
Sarah McLachlan.
Sarah McLachlan. Yeah. Is it called Angels or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
we play that while we're putting you into a straitjacket. So it's pretty brutal.
Are you doing that tonight?
Yeah.
Oh God, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So there was just some routines that come together. I mean, like we, I do this trick where there are 4 boxes and he's in one of the boxes.
Yeah. And
then the other 3 boxes get smashed.
Horribly mangled.
Mm-hmm.
Horribly mangled.
Yeah. No, that came together pretty quickly. That routine.
Yeah, sure.
Initially, and then like when I did it on American Got Talent, I had to change a lot of it. But the initial routine, which was like a version of Deal or No Deal, it's called Dog or No Dog. That came together pretty quickly, and there were other routines that have just been kicking around for 2 years, and just take age. And I didn't really know. That's just a secret to, that's the mystery about making up material. That would be much nicer if there was a process to it.
Yeah.
And then occasionally I'll see something and I'll see a routine. I go, well, if I change a lot of that, then I could, there'll be like one element in it that I like.
Sure.
So I'm working on the Chinese sticks at the moment.
Okay.
I think there's something in that for me.
How many people are helping you create and form your?
Not many. Like
handful of close friends, or
people I talk to, like friends. I'd like, they'll come to a show. I talk to them about a routine maybe, or but usually I'm just sort of kicking around an idea for a while. But I have thought about just bringing in like friends for a week and just,
jamming it out.
Yeah, sitting around and just writing it for a week. It's very like until you get it in front of an audience, it's difficult to tell what state it's in.
Sure.
A lot of the times I've definitely done stuff that I'm like, this is killer, this is going to be great, and it's just bombed. And there are other things I've done that I didn't think were very good, and the audience loved it for some reason. And then I've sort of like managed to work on it and get it to a nice state. But yeah, I mean, like I once did a show. I did an hour of new material, and the only thing that worked in it was when he was doing the moonwalk. That was a killer bit, and the rest of it was trash. Just trash.
So, oh man. So what do you learn in situations like that? I mean, every audience is different, but what are some of the key?
I definitely think you learn, but I think
principles.
But I think there's something about going through it that it's like that Thomas Edison thing, with the light bulb.
Yeah.
It's like, well, now he can teach you how to make a light bulb in one step.
Mm-hmm. But
the things he learned from all those failures, means that he can now invent the next thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I could tell you, like, oh, well, this is the lesson I learned from that. But actually, because I went through it, then I know how to create material better, quicker, and all that stuff. You're going to sneeze.
You can sneeze? Well, now we expect you to sneeze.
I'm going to get snacks for the minibar.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know whether that helps. Does that help?
Yeah. So I guess I was just asking more specifically, like, the lessons that Edison could teach you. What are some of the things? Oh, fuck you.
I don't. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah. Okay.
It's such a unique thing. It's such a personal thing that like you have to go on that journey.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? He could teach me.
Yeah.
Now this is illustration. So
the analogy is.
The analogy is going to break down at some point. But he could teach you how to make a light bulb, right?
Sure.
Because he worked out how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. But all of the journey to get there is what you miss out on.
Yeah.
So if you copy material, or you just buy a trick, you miss out on the journey to get there.
You're not gaining any of the background info.
Right. So, and often I see people perform tricks, or I'll even do this. I'll have a trick, and because I haven't questioned it every step of the way, I'll be like, why am I doing that?
Yep.
Just on that America's Got Talent thing, there was one of that trick with the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
On the last one, I switch it over. So I say, this time, I want you to tell me where the dog is. Now, I don't know why I do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd just been performing like that for 2 years, and after the show, I was like, well, that doesn't help the audience. It's like a tangent. It's like a step of confusion.
Yeah.
And I was like, why do I... And I guess there was a reason years ago. I don't think it was to do with the method. I can't remember. But that's just a case of me, like, I'd forgotten to question every step. And so I had this element of confusion in there. And then once I performed it, because we redid the method for that trick,
yeah,
and now it looks a lot cleaner than it ever did before. Now I look at it and go, well, what would be really nice for that is I had a little bag with 4 ping pong balls in, numbered with the boxes, and then so he reaches in and just takes them, and now it's a game of chance, as opposed to thinking that somebody stooged it or
Sure.
And
or that somebody's actively trying to murder a dog.
or they're trying to murder a dog, or that like if I have a bag with ping pong balls in it, then there's another chance for a method there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like more.
That was for me to go pay the meter. But anyway, go ahead.
There were like more layers to. It's like one step extra to work out.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, is it this or is it that? And but equally, it doesn't confuse the narrative of the trick.
Sure.
So yeah, does that help?
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, I mean that trick is like I'd say, like we did a version of that came together well, but then trying to like tweak that and improve it is like years.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see me like continuing to like play around with that trick for a long time.
Sure.
I mean, even like how you hang the boxes.
Yeah.
That was like 3 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like originally it was like a rope that went from a stage weight on the floor up over a fly bar, and then clipped on, and then we just cut them, and then to reset that quicker, we had little carabiners in there, so you drop it, but it wasn't that drop wasn't that funny. It was like it would drop down, and then because as the carabiner would spin over the top, it would slow down at the impact.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend does an act with sandbags, which are attached with solenoids. And so I saw that, and he had this great thing where the solenoid was powered, and you heard them, they went click, and then that sandbag hit. So it was like a 1-2 sound. So then we started using solenoids for it, and then we were making like a gaffer tape loop on the box, but occasionally like that would break off during the show. So now we do like 2 chords that are just like crossed over, and then the solenoid goes through the loops, and they hold it nice and still. So maybe we'll come up with a better method, but that's like 3 months work.
Sure.
Just to how you hang boxes, and that's the stuff that's not interesting to an audience. You want to get behind magic? Like that is not interesting.
Yeah.
That's why they want to hear about, like, are you single? Like, do you have a job?
Yeah.
Like, are you broke right now?
Yeah.
They don't want to hear like about how you worked on how to hang a box for 3 months. So,
isn't that? That's
I did a lecture to
me.
magicians once, and I went through my card in dog food trick because I spent a long time on that trick, and especially on the gimmick. And they were just bored. And I was like, I'm telling you how to really, really make, like how to, this is like the real work on magic right now, and you guys don't care. Like, have you read Mike Caveney's book?
No, but I want to so badly.
It's the best thing. Mike Caveney and Jeffrey Durham wrote a book as well. Those 2 books, like these are like performers who have like created a routine, not for like Penguin videos or Murphy's or whatever, not for like, oh, this is a nice little street magic video you can do if you get everyone in the right place. This is like, there's a routine that works on any circumstance, in any club. You can earn a living off this routine. Like, you can do this like over and over again to the same audience. They're not going to have a clue, and that's like the interesting side of magic to me.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's like where the real work is.
The blood, sweat, and tears.
Right. And that you can just tell those methods. Like, Cave Evening's book, like, his methods are incredible. They're incredible. And, like, you know, like, his Berlin cigar is ridiculous. And it's, like, practical, it's deceptive. So, that's where you spend 3 months working out how to hang a box.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. That attention to details.
Yeah, that's the interesting bit to me. Because then, what that does is, it tightens all your stuff on stage. So
it's like reducing the joke from 10 words to 5 words.
Right, it's the same thing. And it takes a long time to reduce the joke from 10 words to 5 words.
Yeah.
You know? So, and it also takes a long time to do the visual aspects of that, or the prop management stuff of that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, magic is like a lot of, basically just prop management.
Sure.
So, or like, you know, that sort of like stand-up magic, that sort of parlor magic that I do is a lot about prop management. So, yeah.
Can I go feed the meter?
Yeah.
Just pause. Does that bother you when people do an English accent?
No, it's pretty funny. But they all do the same accent.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they do
all
like
right, mate? Oh, mate.
They do like
mate? All right, mate?
a Cockney Russell Brand thing?
Yeah, it's just terrible. Yeah, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Does that... So, just your natural speaking accent, is that what you have when you were growing up in London? Or is it...
Yeah.
Have you... Okay. I just didn't know if you had changed it since you're touring and performing everywhere.
No, not really. I try and make myself, like, reasonably easy to understand, but that's the way it.
Okay.
You're like, wow, good job.
I'm just curious about that kind of stuff. You know, all that showbiz.
Yeah, I'm quite anti-showbiz. So, I like doing that job, but I don't like...
You mean cleaning up his shit? That's the showbiz job you like doing?
I like that bit.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do people... does it bother you, the assumptions that people have about Piff?
I don't know what the assumptions are. Go for it. This is a way to make this awkward. Let's hear the assumptions people have about Piff.
Well, that you're like a kid's magician or something.
Does
that bother you to just go, it comes with the costume?
It comes with a costume. It doesn't impact my work or career. So, you know, and we just find ways to get around it. Like I had a photo of me with a gun to the dog's head. You know,
not for children's parties.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be weird though? If a parent was like, I saw that picture with the gun. Can you do my kids'
party?
Mm-hmm.
We have a thing as well where it's like kidnapping princesses tick, practicing card tricks tick, children's parties, and a big cross. So we're pretty late. I mean, it's pretty prominent.
Oh yeah, it says on every page of your website.
Yeah. So no, I don't mind about that assumption.
Okay.
Any others?
No. I didn't have assumptions about Piff.
Right.
I saw a man in a costume and it was like, I want to be friends with that guy. We were in a hotel in San Diego and he's wearing a dragon costume.
Yeah.
What are fan interactions like after shows?
Sometimes they're weird. Most of the time they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a guy yesterday. People come up to me. The thing that kind of annoys me. I'm going to be honest. It kind of annoys me.
Sure.
People come up to me and they're like, "Oh, hey, John," and it's not like they're not like, "Oh, hi, John, how's it going?" They're like, "Hey, John." Like they want me to know that I know that they know that I know, and I'm just like, "Oh my god!" And they're like, "How's it going, John? Great show, John." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, great. You know my real name. What do you want?" And usually it's magicians who do that.
Oh yeah.
You know, I heard Tommy Wonder do a lecture. You know Tommy Wonder is.
Oh yeah. Just because I'm young doesn't mean I'm stupid.
Right. So Tommy Wonder's like the genius.
Oh
yeah, he's great. But I had him do a lecture, and he said magicians are one of the only types of performers who they sort of don't believe in a hierarchy. You know, like somebody who does, who earns a living doing hack magic or close-up magic assumes that they're on the same level as somebody who is not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to word this politely. I'm not sure I'm making a good
Say
job
whatever you want.
But I think that's the thing that a lot of people, a lot of magicians, when they talk to you, assuming a certain level.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. We're not.
We're not buddies.
We're not equals. Yeah,
I don't know you.
Yeah.
We're not buddies.
Sure.
You do a different job than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, it's just weird.
It is weird. People kind of assume this, like, we're brothers because we both do magic. It's like, we're not necessarily. I mean, like, if I was in a place I didn't know anybody and you were doing magic, I'd be like, okay.
See, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't really?
No,
okay.
I wouldn't.
Who would you seek out if you were...
Probably nice people. Nice people. Now, that person who's doing magic might be a nice person, but I'm not going to bond with them over the magic.
Sure.
I'm going to bond with them. Like yesterday, there was the guy working at the club. We were going around doing press, and he was a really fun guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like we bonded over funny things that happened and all that stuff. Now, if he'd have been doing magic, that wouldn't be the thing that we bonded about. It would be about it would be the same thing. So it's the same for people, and I just think like there's this weird sort of like, oh, well, I do magic, therefore you will be my friend.
Do you think that's because like it's a secretive hobby, and so it's like, oh, well, I know all the secrets too. We can bond over that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah,
and I'm also like, probably it's my antisocial aspect of my personality.
Sure.
So it's probably not exactly. I mean, like, I'm sure there are people who love it. People are like, yeah, it's great. Like, everyone's really friendly to me and wants to hang out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know these people. What do they want from me?
John.
Yeah. Yeah, people always say, should I call you Piff or John? I'm like, I don't care. Just whatever you want to call me. As long as you don't do it with that weird wink. Hey, I know you're not really a magic dragon. Yeah, well done, dickhead. Says everyone in the audience.
You did it. You figured out what none of us were trying to prove.
Right, exactly, yeah. So I think there's something weird about that in terms of fan interactions. So then there are also a few people who take it a little bit too seriously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and sort of trying to have my babies and.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. So.
It is a bit weird.
You're a dragon. I try and be polite to everyone. So
course.
if there's somebody, who's like, oh, I once he was a massive prick to me, then I did try and be polite. I genuinely try. I genuinely try and be polite.
Yeah.
And I don't always succeed, but I do genuinely try. But yeah, there was a guy yesterday because he did that. Oh, how's it going, John? And I was like, oh, here we go. And then he got all upset because I rolled my eyes at him. He was like, hey, don't be a dickhead about this. And I was like, well, you started it. And then it's a downward slope.
Oh,
then it's like, because then I'm not going to backpedal. Once it's gone down that. Somebody came to a show the other day, and they brought me a magic trick.
Yeah.
And they were trying to find out, like, they were trying to find a mutual friend to, like, so that they could come and hang out with me.
Sure.
And we were super busy on the road, and we didn't really have time to do any of that stuff. But, I said, look, come and you can hang out and say hi, and, we'll be packing up so you can hang out there, and, but I'm too busy, but, at least there's that time if you want it. So he came to the show, and he gave me a trick, and I was like, well, how does it work? And he was like, oh, well, And I said, no, just tell me how, do it. So he did it, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. I was like, yes, how does it work? And he's like, oh, well, you have to go online and watch this thing. And I was like, I'm never going to do that. And he was like, oh, and sort of left. And then on Facebook, he wrote, oh, yeah, I met him. I gave him this trick, and he said that he was never going to go online and watch instructions. And somebody wrote, it was definitely him then. Somebody was like, yep, that's the guy.
We know you're not kidding around.
Right. Yep, you met him.
Oh, wow. That's so funny. Who was it? No, I'm just kidding.
He was a very nice guy. And I was just busy. But also, I'm not going to sit down.
No, of course. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
no interest. You know, I'm very interested in the magic tricks I want to perform, and outside that, I'm not very interested. But I love watching really great magic. That bit has to be really good.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Well,
Like-
yeah, like your heroes.
Right, like
Yeah.
Penn and Teller are great. Copperfield's amazing. I love anytime I can go and see that show. I'll go and see that show. Matt King, and then you know, like occasionally you get like this. Like who was the guy who won FISM a couple of years ago? Yu-Ho Jin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, now that breaks down everything I would say you should do in Magic. You know, that has got he like takes himself ridiculously seriously. You know, there's no context or any of that, or blah blah blah, and it's the greatest thing I've seen. You know,
Yeah.
I love it, and it's like it's definitely poetic and all that.
Sure.
You know, and I could argue and pick apart that routine,
Yeah.
but I would not be right. You know,
Yeah. Well, it's like someone put so much time and energy and devotion.
right, and I
into
think
it.
maybe that's what I'm relating to.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
like when I see that routine, I have a human reaction to it.
Yeah.
Whereas when I see other like manipulators and even like Korean manipulators, I'm like, oh, Snorefest.
Yeah, it's one of
You
those
know?
things. It's like if
It's like,
you're
yeah,
not.
I get it. You can produce a lot of cards.
Yeah. If
You
you're
know?
not insanely like perfectly good at it, then I don't care.
Right.
About that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but even like, there's just something that I don't know, and I could be wrong, but I just felt like there was something like, I mean, first of all, like when I saw him as well, he did FISM, and I saw him in the final performance, and like he nailed that shit, like you wouldn't believe, you know, and it was like at the exact moment when he needed to, he like really nailed it.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
like an
think-
athlete.
Right,
Yeah.
and I think there's something about seeing someone at the top of their game like that bring out a performance of that level when it counts is like phenomenal. So there's definitely that aspect of the perfection to it, but also I just think you see all the hard work. I think maybe it is like slightly related to a sporting performance when you see something that great. There's something like poetic about it.
Yeah.
Whereas other people when they're like fumbling or whatever, you just this is terrible.
Oh, that's
Like,
exactly what I do. Too.
I love really bad magic.
Yep.
And I love really incredible magic, and anything that's average or okay, I'm just not interested in.
Yeah.
Totally uninterested. And I don't even like. It's not bad magic. It's just like this completely the wrong This is the
Why
worst
doesn't this
idea
person
in the world.
know?
No, I don't.
No,
mind.
it's not that?
I don't even mind that sometimes. Like I don't even mind that, but like this is just a horrific concept, and somebody has spent so much time on this. Somebody's gone so far down the wrong path, and they're so happy about it or whatever it is.
That's
but-
what I'm saying. It's like how why did they think this?
But then
is a
I'll
good
see
idea?
somebody who's doing something which is just pretty bad,
Yeah.
or just not very good, and they spent so much time in it, and there's nothing more depressing to me.
Oh, God.
I'll be like, wow, this is brutal. This is just making me feel bad about life.
Isn't that? Oh God, I just.
Whereas, like, if it's really bad
Yeah.
and they spend that, I can't. Like I said, I just think the more you try and break that stuff down, the less it. The less you find. Basically, at the beginning, you find a lot of rules,
Yeah.
and you go, okay, well, this is what I think, and then, like, you find a lot of exceptions, and then eventually you're left with nothing,
Yeah.
and you just go, I don't know why I like that, but I love it. I just love it.
Yeah.
Like there was an act he just produced flowers for 20 minutes. Literally 20 minutes. Out of a box. So they would show the box empty, and then they would start producing flowers. And the flowers would like unfold and they put them down. And after like 5 minutes, you're going, this is dreadful. This is the most boring. And after 10 minutes, you're going, God, this is horrific. It's a lot of flowers though. This is really terrible. And after 50 minutes, you're like, wow, when is this going to end? I mean, it really is a lot of flowers. And then by the end of it, you're just like on your feet. Yes, another flower. Just one more, please. Oh my God, he did it.
That's you know what that is. That's performer Stockholm syndrome.
I know. I think it is Stockholm syndrome. But yeah. And then there are other people that people will be like, oh God, this guy's a maestro. This guy's like, this is a masterpiece of magic, and I'll be like, just shoot me in the face right now, because this is terrible. This is I can't relate to this in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you the best example about this.
Okay.
Which fortunately, it happened to my friend, who is an amazing performer.
Yeah.
A guy called Bertie Pierce, who's one of my favourite magicians.
Okay.
And can make me laugh like nobody else. Like, I'd be on the floor crying with laughter when he performs. And he was taught at a drama, a sort of clown. No, it's more of a drama school, run by a guy called Jacques Lecoq, who is a French guy, and out of that school has come a lot of like really big theatre makers. So my friend was performing his act, and Jacques stopped him and said, take apart your table, put it back together again, and tell me what you're doing. Because that, to me, is far more interesting than anything you're doing right now. And I think it's so true.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm watching somebody's act going, oh, I wonder how that table comes apart.
Yeah.
You know, like, and whereas I don't care about the tiny ball that is appearing in the cup, and now it's in your pocket, it's in your pocket, or the cup. I'm like, I don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, so that was a big lesson to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, so okay, so
but a lot of people do care about whether the ball is under the cup or in the
oh
pocket.
yeah, we're not arguing that people don't care about it. This is
right. We're just arguing that they're wrong.
Yes.
No, we're just saying that I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Well, so when you do see masters, what is it that lights up your brain about them? I get being endlessly amused by people that are truly terrible, but
yeah, only if it's an innocent.
Yeah, exactly.
Badness.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, when it's like a depressing, there is no hope for them. Then that's not good.
That's not fun
when
for
somebody's
anyone.
like starting out and they're just, it's just atrocious. You're like, oh yeah. I laugh because I've been there.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I've done some fucking terrible acts on stage, but I don't know. And like mastery.
Well, so like Archer or Williamson or some of the people you mentioned earlier.
I don't know. I think mastery is like reserved for. David Williamson did 20 minutes once. That is, he did a stand-up 20 minutes, and I thought it was like phenomenal. Yeah. And then Caveney, Mike Caveney's 20 minutes is like just like some of the greatest magics that have been created. So, so I don't know. It's something about you. When you watch something, you can just tell whether something's good or not.
Yeah. You
can just tell that this isn't a fluke. That this is like 10,000 hours on stage.
Yeah.
That everything's been thought through here. And even if it hasn't, even if they try something new, you can see like the performance behind it.
And you feel honored to see the new thing.
I wouldn't even go that far, but
I would.
No, because I think like who am I to be honored by? Like this guy doesn't give a shit. Like,
well, no. I just mean like you feel lucky to see the beginning of it. Maybe not honored. Sure.
Yeah. But
you're just trying to shit on me.
You go to a show. I am honoured that you have chosen to perform. Somebody said that to me the other day. About who was it? I can't remember. It was about. Oh, I don't even remember. It was about the fact that it was just interesting to me because they made it sound like it was a very famous performer.
Yeah.
And they were like, I just felt like I'm so. It's amazing that these guys are performing for me right now. And I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Nobody is there going, oh, Steve's in the audience. Well, what an honour that this is here.
Yeah.
In some ways, like you do that. You just do it. Everyone's on the same level.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, and it's great to be able to perform to people, but oh, it's my lawyer calling me. I'll get in a bit. It's great to be able to. It's just great to be able to perform for people. But
sure. No, I mean the audience is honored. They feel lucky to see the new material.
Right? Maybe. I just think less ego, less. Less ego from everything. Yeah. Like ego is a killer. It's just a big killer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I'm going to your show tonight. Hopefully.
Right. Well, you are honored to be.
No, I just meant I'm going to feel lucky to see you, to be able to go and see you.
I think lucky is a great word. Like, you're lucky to see me, and I'm lucky to perform there.
Well,
and as long as that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as everyone is on that page.
Yeah.
Then I think you're in a good place because otherwise you start feeling privileged.
Yeah. No.
And with privilege comes what's the word beginning with E?
Entitlement. Yes.
And that's like the worst thing.
That's
if an audience is
the grossest.
entitled or the performer is entitled, you've screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where that ego comes back in.
Right. And then I think like with magicians, and like famous magicians, then that can come in very quickly.
Oh yeah.
And also then we can start praising Emperor's New Clothes. And being like, this routine is terrible. I've seen routines get standing ovations, and I'm like, okay, I'll give you $1,000 to come out with me, come to a club, perform that routine, and even survive the performance. Let alone getting standing ovation. If you make it through the end, I will give you $1,000 because that is dreadful. So.
Have you posed that challenge to someone in real life?
No, I'd love to.
Why not?
Because I'm never friends with those people who are dreadful.
Oh.
I don't really have friends who are terrible.
You don't want to bring somebody out that isn't a friend.
I just can't get on with people.
Sure.
Because sometimes they're very, they've got big egos and they're terrible. And I'm just like,
yeah.
How do you live with yourself?
It's better to be good and humble than it is to be great. As I do air quotes on a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, I look at myself and I go, okay, I think I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
But and I think there are some nights when I'm not.
Yeah. It's just realistic. You're just looking at yourself objectively.
Yeah, you can't. It will be wrong. It will be like a false humility of me saying, "Oh no, I'm not very good."
Yeah.
Because like I've done enough things that people have paid and given me the appropriate job. Like, okay, I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
But then I look at someone like Teller, and I'm like, no, he's great. He is great.
Yeah.
And when Teller talks to me about my act, I'm like, oh my god, just the way he sees what I do, the way he the way he works with the magic tricks, and you just go, that is somebody who's great.
Yeah.
No question. So, and I think it's amazing when somebody goes, no, I'm that good. no, I'm good.
Well, yeah, that goes back to...
I'm pretty much the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. That goes back to people coming up and being like, hey, John,
wink, wink. Hey, a few tips for you.
Oh,
and I've had it.
Man, have you had that?
Yeah.
Oh.
People come up to me and they go, I used to do this thing where I levitate Piffles. And had this like little levitation machine built. And it was funny. And it was, if you looked at it, you couldn't see the mechanics. But because it was on a motor, like, it rose up and then stopped and then lowered down. So you could, it was on a motor.
Yeah.
So, and I did it like, not straight really, but, to try and keep the magic, to not reveal the magic.
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, it would be a lot funnier if, because we used to do it with music to cover the, I believe I can fly or something. So it would be much funnier to cut the music and just say down from there, and then have him go. So we would do that, and just so many magicians came to the show and were like, "Oh, by the way, you can hear that motor at the end when he's coming down. You can hear that." And I just be like, "I don't know what to do with you guys. What do you want from me?"
That's like I don't know how to phrase it, but that's like you're not experiencing, not you, but I mean that person that's like, you can hear that, right? It's like they're not experiencing what everybody else is. They're like taken out of reality almost.
Yeah, they're watching a different thing than everyone else is. Yeah.
And that's sad.
It's sad. Yeah,
people don't know when to put it in the box and then leave it there and be like, I'm gonna watch this show instead of...
Yeah, I mean, but there's an element of that, like, like a lot of comedians, when they watch other comedians, they just stand there going, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
Joke detected. Sure.
Yeah, that's funny. Whereas, rather than laughing.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think there's a difference between, like, I'll watch a good performer and I'll be like, that's really good.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch a great performer and I'll be crying, laughing, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, and it's like...
and often not knowing why.
Yeah. It's the difference between just magically, like, being fooled and not knowing how something works. It's kind of like, wow, that kicked me in the brain, and I, like, felt it really hard. Or it's like, that may give other people...
But even when something fools me and it has no context behind it, I just don't care. I just don't care.
But don't you have like an internal feeling of something, like if
No, only when it's backed up by something human.
Okay, that's interesting.
Is that? I mean, that's probably not that true. There probably isn't.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There are probably times when I've been fooled by something which is just a great magic trick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I get that. Like, child,
Yeah.
like, oh, how does that work?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably true. Yeah.
Maybe that's what I mean when... I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it yet. I'll get there.
Yeah, I don't know. I know what you're saying though, but there are some times when it's just you're just there going, oh my god, how does that work?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
it's just like when you get the new iPhone. It's the same thing. Like, oh my god, what's that? What is that doing?
And then it's like, of course it does this.
Yeah, and then you're like, yeah, ching. Well, I always like, for me, the example is like automatic doors.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do the haunted deck. Wave my hand and the deck would cut itself and the car would jump open and people would freak out. And then they go to the supermarket and the doors would open at the pass of their hands and they'd be like, yeah. This is the same trick.
Yeah.
This is exactly the same trick. Only one of them uses a tiny string and the other uses a very complicated sensor that I don't know how it operates. But, one of them is much more impressive to you, so...
Oh, man. That's such a remarkable, like, juxtaposition of things.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, gosh. I love that. Automatic doors and haunted packs.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same trick.
Okay, well, so what do you think that is? This might go back to, like, the Edison lessons. Is like, why do you think that
the Edison lessons? That sounds a lot more intelligent than I meant it to. Well, of course, it's the Edison lesson.
Of course, the pack. Why is the pack cutting itself more amazing than the actual amazing things that happen around us all the time? The frequency with which we see them, like the iPhone, or
I don't know. I mean, part of me just thinks there's a bit of common sense about that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that it's a natural object. It's an object that they've been shuffling, and then suddenly something is happening. They don't believe there are any workings to it. Whereas a sensor, they just write off as, shit I don't understand. That, like television.
Yeah, sure.
How do you get television? The waves come in, and then they go into the antenna, and then, the picture comes up on the screen.
Yeah. That explains that.
What? Well, I don't know, like they just broadcast out the waves, and that gets picked up, and then they get turned into pictures. You have to be able to, not care about everything in life.
Yeah.
So there's that human element just cuts it off, whereas a deck of cards is like, no, I was holding them. No, I just shuffled them.
Yeah.
It's like that, like, something about that, there's like a boundary there between, too complicated to give a shit about, but sometimes it feels like it's within your grasp to understand it and you can't, and that's where sometimes where magic is.
That's a nugget.
There you
it's
go.
in the grasp that you could understand it, but you can't.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
That's nice. That was worth the whole hour and a half. That was worth the whole 20 minutes of cleaning up dog shit.
Oh my god. We're talking about nuggets.
Oh god. That was nice.
I'm working on a miser's dream.
Are you really?
Yeah.
With the treasure?
Yeah. Because, and it's going to be something about how Mr. Piffles literally shits gold. That's the concept. But I've had it for like 2 years, that concept.
That's awesome.
So, but, he is definitely the money. So, me and my friend, Richard Wiseman.
Yes.
He's a good friend of mine. And we were talking about Piffles shitting gold. Should be a great plot for a miser's dream.
That's amazing. Oh, man. I imagine a lot of work would go into that costume.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a butt flap and all. Of course, that's what I meant.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like that, like, I don't want to do the miser's dream because everyone does it and could do it and people could see. I always hate that thing where people see it somewhere else and go, oh, I saw the other guy do it.
Yeah.
Oh, did you steal it from that other guy? Did he, what's...
Yeah.
I hate that. To me, that's as bad as audiences finding out how magic tricks are done.
I agree.
When you tell people and they go, oh, is that how it works? That's the same deal for me when people think that you see your material elsewhere.
Well, because, and I wish that magic was more like comedy in that aspect, which is like, sure, everybody has universal experiences, so make your magic about universal experiences, and you can do similar plots.
Right. But there'll always be arguments. I mean, in comedy, there's a lot of arguments about, oh, you stole my bit.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But at least it would be nicer if people tried a bit harder.
Yeah.
In magic.
I think so.
Yeah, people don't. But, like, also the audiences don't demand it, so it's part of the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
People like, you can like win. You can get TV shows and win huge awards by doing unoriginal stuff. So,
yeah.
Why should you be original?
We got dark here at the end.
No, just saying. No, I think it's a valid question. I genuinely think, why should you be original if like there's no need to?
Yeah. If it's not being enforced,
right? And also, like for me, like I just like performing original material, so that's why I want to be original. Yeah. Whereas I have friends who don't like that. They like performing like tricks that everyone does. So I'm like, all right, go for it. It's the same. Yeah.
Does it? Maybe not bother you. I'm sure you sleep well at night. But I mean, does it?
Yeah, I sleep fine at night.
Is it frustrating at all to be a magician in a climate where you could just do the same shit that everybody else does?
Well, when it is frustrating, then that's a false frustration because, like, I don't find it interesting.
Sure.
So, like, there is no... So, it's like false of me to say, oh, I could just be out there, because I actually can't be out there doing...
No, of course.
Just like when I was really bad at being... when I say, oh, there's magic as a service industry and magic as a, show business, like, that's not a... I'm not saying one's better than the other, it's just I can't do this, I'm a terrible...
Sure.
My public interfacing is genuinely awful.
Oh, that was a nice IT callback.
Yeah, my customer service is terrible.
Yeah.
So I just can't, I can't do that job.
Sure.
Whereas I can do show business because, like, I have a manager and an agent and a lawyer.
You have people to deal with the people
who can protect me on that stuff and do it on my behalf, and I don't have to get involved in any of that. So, and it's the same with original material. I just happen to only be able to perform my stuff well, like most people. But there are some people who can perform other people's material just as well. Just as well. And there are some people who don't care. They just rip off anything and they sleep fine. And I sort of think fair enough. Just think, all right.
I totally.
It's much better for me to focus on my life and
course.
like my work.
Yeah.
And I mean, Penn had a story about this. Somebody ripped him off, and he rang up his mum and was like, and he was saying, "All right, well, I guess I'm going to have to sue this guy." And his mum's like, you're not going to do that." He's like, "Well, no, I have to." She's like, "No, you don't." And he was like, "It's my life's work." And she was like, "First of all, how old are you?" And he was like, 23. And she's like, "So it's not your life's work."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Secondly, you're going to have much more fun creating new material than, chasing down someone who's ripped you off for old material." And I think that's a really nice way to look at it. It's much better to just
move
keep
forward.
Doing what I want to do and concentrate on my life and let everyone do what they're going to do around me, because I can't change any of that anyway.
Sure.
So much better just to focus on, on my stuff.
Well, it's certainly working for you.
Yeah, and it's there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. A lot of straitjackets to escape from.
A lot of boxes to destroy.
A lot of diarrhea to clean up.
Well, we're right at 2 hours.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was a long one.
It was a long one, and you didn't say anything that needs to be edited out.
You kidding?
Do you want to fix it? do you want to say a bunch of really bad stuff?
Probably. Yeah, we're probably okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you very much, Elliott.
Really
and thank you, Dan and Dave Industries, for existing.
Thanks, John. Oh, God. I'm sorry.
Security.
Please escort this man. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to plug before I turn it off?
Oh, yeah.
The deck of cards, the possible TV show.
Piff Deck.
Piff Deck.
Piffdeck.com.
Okay.
What else? guess if you want to see me live, they can do that. You can go to piffanddragon.com and find out the tour dates. We just got our own show in Vegas, Mr. Piffles and I, Monday through Wednesday at the Flamingo at 8 p.m.
Nice.
That's it.
Okay. Thanks.
Don't come if you're going to call me John after the show. Just don't come. And especially don't come if you're going to get offended when I call you out on it. Because if that guy yesterday had been like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just being a douche, we would have been buddies.
Yeah.
But it was, he got all grumpy. I gotta go and eat.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks.